at Golden One Center tonight. Cannot wait.
Kyle is using
Fired
all the buttons this morning.
I have so
All
many
of them.
buttons.
We don't touch other people's privates.
An important note ahead of the season, Sacramento taking on Minnesota tonight begins the 40th season of Sacramento Kings basketball. I can't wait. We want to hear from you today, whether you're listening on ESPN 1320 AM, whether you're on twitch.tv/ESPN 1320 or youtube.com/ESPN 1320, whether you're hanging out in the chatty house or you're not. Maybe you're listening on the Odyssey app. We want to hear from you today on the Elk Grove Kia Talk line, 916-909-1320, 916-909-1320. We're going to talk biggest questions that you would like to see the Kings answer this season. That's what we've got going on. We'll get predictions from everyone. We want to hear from Kings fans today, though. Again, the Elk Grove Kia Talk line is 916-909-1320. We don't have a call screener, so if it rings for a while, just stay patient. We'll get to you.
Or we won't. We'll see.
Or we will do our best to get to you. No, 40 seasons here in Sacramento, and it's a big one to open a pretty sizable year for the Sacramento Kings against the Minnesota Timberwolves. We'll dive into that game specifically as the show goes on, but one of the things I'm feeling today is excitement that we just have Kings basketball back. B, the excitement that the roster is different than it was last year. But I think there's also I don't want to say anxiety, but a little bit, because there's some added urgency this year.
Oh,
2 years ago, it was, hey, maybe they can push for a playoff spot. And then they go win 48 and they're the number 3 seed. Last year it was run it back. We've got some stuff to learn about this team. They ran it back. Chris Duarte's here, but it's mostly the same team. Can they do it again? They couldn't. And we knew that through most of the year. This offseason, though, it's not, okay, let's see what this looks like. No, there's legitimate expectations now. And with that comes some urgency.
Yeah, you hope so. That's the key, right? You hope that they feel the same urgency and they understand the expectations that are now put upon them. When you bring in a player like DeMar DeRozan, the expectations change. And when you have a big breakout season, you go 48 wins and then you drop to 46 wins, there are expectations of getting this team back to the playoffs. And like, you hope that that they're feeling the same way that everyone else is. I do know that, like, the players want nothing more than to be in the playoffs. They were not happy the way last season ended. No one was happy, and rightfully so. But before we get too far away from it, Kyle, I want to give a shout out. This 40th season of Sacramento Kings basketball. Greg Lukenbill is out there somewhere. Shout out to Greg Lukenbill, who helped bring this team here. The Benvenuti family, who Joe Benvenuti is the one who financed most of the purchase of the Sacramento Kings when they're in Kansas City. So big shout out to the Benvenuti family. Big shout out to John Cariotis and his continued support of Sacramento Kings. These are all original type owners. And, without that vision of bringing the team here, we wouldn't be here having Kings basketball. So I do want to, 40 years is a big deal. Shout out to Gary Gerald for this being his 40th year calling every single game on the radio. Shout out to Jerry Reynolds for being a guy who worked for this franchise that moved here from Kansas City with the franchise and worked forever. So lots of good stuff, man. I don't want to lose the sight that 40 is a big, big number. That's a big deal for this franchise,
especially when it was so close to being 23 or 26 or whatever it was going to be. Time.
So,
crazy,
absolutely wild.
So yes, psyched to have Kings basketball back. Psyched to have Kings basketball here in Sacramento. Obviously, I think this year, one of the things as we open this Kings regular season is they for me, if they're going to get to that, just spoiler alert, 51-31. That's where I'm at.
Okay.
51-31 is where I'm landing my prediction. And if they're going to get there, they cannot do this 0-4 to start the year. 500 through 15 games, through 16 games. I don't want to see a slow start. I really want to see this team this year hit the ground running. I know they're going to have some stuff to figure out.
Yeah.
And it's not all going to be perfect out of the gate. But like Minnesota's a team you can get. It's a good time to get Minnesota. I know they've got a road trip coming up that includes like Toronto. Not losing those games throughout the year against bad teams, but B, I think you have to start fast this year.
Oh, I totally agree. And Kyle, it's just sitting right there for you. I mean, you've got the Lakers on Saturday, which you played really well against the Lakers over the last 3 years. I think the last 2 years, the Kings are 7-1 against the Lakers. So that's one team. You get Portland on Monday. Portland's not a good team.
Portland stinks. We'll talk about it.
They're not a good team. We saw them play last night. They're not a good team. I don't care what happened during the preseason against that team. That's a game you have to win if you're the Sacramento Kings. Like, if you want to be serious about this season, and like, look, there are like my late great friend Paul Westphal used to say, there are reasons and there are excuses.
Yeah.
Right. There are reasons why the Kings could get off to a slow start.
Sure.
They have a brand new, like, 35-year-old scorer that changes everything, right? Yes. They've got 2 of their rotational players that didn't play the entire preseason and all through training camp. That's a reason, right? But at the end of the day, you got to put those aside.
Yeah.
Because we don't want to hear the excuses at the end of the season of why you missed out again. And it's an 82-game season, which is horribly long, and you got to stay the course. But at the same time, like, getting off to a fast start for me is so incredibly important to this team. Again, their schedule in the first 10 games, there's a potential for them to go 8-2 or 7-3. There's also a possibility that they go 5-5 because they just can't find their way because they're struggling. So I feel like this is one of those seasons that when push comes to shove and you're in a game where it's highly competitive and you don't know, it's back and forth and all that stuff, you need to rely on the incredibly talented players that you have to go. You have to push them to go get the wins. It's got to be De'Aaron Fox. It's got to be Domantas Sabonis. It's got to be Malik Monk. It's got to be DeMar DeRozan. You have to push them. Like, that's why we brought you guys in. You're one of the best fourth quarter scoring tandems in the league as far as Fox and DeRozan. These guys should, like, very quickly learn how to close out games.
Yes.
We need to skip that learn how to win step that teams get hung up on. You got to go straight to winning. And so that's where I'm kind of at. Like, this team needs to gel quickly, but figure out very quickly how to get wins.
I haven't looked at the point spread for tonight, but do we know if the Kings are favored?
They were favored by a bunch, I think.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Which was interesting.
Well, I'm checking right now because I want to have this right. The Kings are 1.5 point underdogs tonight.
Oh, okay.
But I mean, on the money line, it's basically even money. But at the Lakers, they're probably not going to be favored, and this just goes to the fast start thing. They're probably not going to be favored, but they've dominated that matchup the last couple of years, and I don't think anything's happened to either team that makes me think that'll change.
No, they're 4-0 against them last year.
Yeah, and 3-1, 4-1 the year prior.
3-1 the year before.
So that's a game they should win. Blazers bad. Utah probably not very good.
Nope.
Atlanta talented again. We'll talk about Atlanta later. Remember how I said that I wanted no part of the Brooklyn Atlanta game? Yeah, Prize Picks sucked me into that game. I was sweating out a Cam Thomas Prize Picks entry and had to watch a lot of Brooklyn Atlanta. So I have a ton of Atlanta Hawks thoughts.
Yep.
But that's a game they should win. Toronto stinks. Miami got thumped last night and may or may not be a very good team. Then you get Toronto again, and then you get the Clippers and then the Suns, and the Clippers and Suns both look pretty good in their matchup last night. That was a fun game. But to your point, like 8-2 out the gate, 7-3 out the gate.
It's sitting right there, Kyle.
They have to go get it. If they're going to, again, this is not, if they go 5-5 in their first 10, it's not pull the plug, the season's over. But you're probably looking at that point after 10 games, if you're 5-5, you're looking more like, oh, okay, maybe this isn't 51. Maybe it's more like 47-48.
I think it really does depend how they look. Like if they feel like a team that's building, but they just don't have continuity yet. That's one thing, right? If they come out and they're flat and they don't play hard and we have that sort of huge letdown game, I just don't see that. I think, again, integrating Kevin Huerter back into a team, it shouldn't be that difficult. He started most of last season and he started all of the season before. Like, he knows what to do. He knows where to go. The only thing you're wondering is how it works with him and DeMar DeRozan. And
he's spacing the floor, though. Like, that's he might have to do it in a couple of different spots, but my issue with Kevin Huerter is not how he's going to figure out how to fit into an offense.
No.
I don't foresee that being a problem.
Well, and I also think there's going to be a lot of plays where DeMar DeRozan and Kevin Huerter are on the court at the same time, but they're nowhere near each other. They're nowhere near the same zone.
Yeah,
like I think we're going to see a bunch of DHOs, like we always see with Domantas Sabonis and Kevin Huerter. We're going to see the 2-man game with those two. It may take a couple of weeks before you start seeing a Kevin Huerter and DeMar DeRozan 2-man game, or those two guys on the same side of the court doing a bunch of work together. But I still think that DeRozan is such a good passer. He'll find Kevin Huerter in the corner for an open look. And what you have to have is these guys, they've got to take it serious. They've got to hit their shots, which they didn't do at all in the preseason. And, it's go time.
That's the other part of this, is you didn't win a preseason game. And I know they don't matter, but go show that the preseason didn't matter, right? You can't face plant tonight at home. That crowd's going to be crazy. We know that. You cannot face plant tonight at home after stumbling through the preseason the way they did, where they had a game against the Blazers where they just weren't competitive. And then they go out against the Clippers in the finale with no James Harden. And I know De'Aaron Fox didn't play and the starters didn't play a whole complement of minutes, but they still looked in that game. That's another reason that for me, they got to come out and start fast, because, dude, you got to get a win on the board somehow.
Oh, yeah.
At some point, you got to throw a W up.
Yeah. I mean, the 0-5 in preseason, like, I'm not concerned with at all. But there is this thing, like 2 years ago when they had their big 48-win season, they started 0-4 and they didn't look good. And then all of a sudden they did. So what they need to do is they need to harness like who they were after that 0-4 start 2 years ago. And you really hope that they get back to being the fun offensive team that they were the last couple of years. Even last year, it even got a little mucked up. I need to see more. Yeah. So yeah,
that's kind of, I think that this year is going to look more like 22-23, because I think that's what you're going to see. I think you're going to see an offense. Their defense may regress. You may not see the kind of defense that we saw toward the end of last year, but I think you're going to see them get back to what they were offensively, where they're just kind of this machine that, all right, maybe they lose some games because they get outshot or whatever, but there were so many points last year where it was like, man, the offense just like, it's just not quite there. Like, Herter's not knocking down his shots, and Fox would have his kind of ups and downs. I don't foresee that this year. I think they're going to kind of hit the gas and go, and then eventually they're going to really figure it out and be maybe the best offensive team in the league, or top 5 offensive team.
Yeah, I hope so. And also, I'd point out that like De'Aaron Fox didn't look particularly great coming out of through training camp, through preseason. And it wasn't that I feel like he didn't like do the work or whatever. I just feel like he was in neutral the whole time.
Yeah.
And I think we're ready to see De'Aaron Fox just elevate. And, you're going up against a guy in Anthony Edwards tonight that is like quickly becoming the face of the NBA. And like, if I'm De'Aaron Fox, there's got to be in the back of your head, like, why him and why not me? Another small market guy sort of in Minnesota. Yeah. And, a guy who, again, you like statistically speaking, and a lot of times, a lot of points in their careers already, Fox has been the better player. So you kind of want to see if Fox can elevate his game, elevate his team, and get into that conversation with a player like Anthony Edwards. And
yeah.
It's a big deal.
Yeah, man. It definitely is. How's the vibe? Vibe's good?
I think they are good.
Vibes are going to be fine. I know the vibes were down in the preseason. I feel really good about the vibes going into tonight.
Okay.
I don't think a single person is going to be in that building like, I don't know, 1-5 in the preseason. Ugh.
Yeah, I think
not a single person.
Having Mike Brown say he hasn't, putting his arms around the team and not that doesn't mean the vibes are bad. It means that he doesn't know where he's going to his rotations and how he's
Sure.
piecing this whole thing
Not that
together
many
yet.
teams do, though.
He's gonna have to play by feel early on, but the vibes I think are really good right now.
Yeah, we'll continue diving into that throughout the day. 916-909-1320, 916-909-1320 is the Elk Grove Kia talk line if you would like to join the program today. Again, no phone screener is just going to ring for a while until we can get to you, so please be patient. He's James Ham. I'm Kyle Madsen. We are sponsored by Jiffy Lube here on ESPN 1320. That is Sacramento's sports leader. Kings-Timberwolves tonight at Golden One Center. The Kings 2-1 against Minnesota last year. Had a really impressive win in Minnesota early in the year when Minnesota kind of looked unbeatable at home.
They were unbeatable at home, and the Kings walked in there and came away with a big win.
Yeah. Going to see a lot of Minnesota this year.
Yeah,
at least early on.
Right out of the gate,
three
right?
Games, three in the first 20.
Yeah, and I think they play them three times before November's over, which is just crazy.
But this is, look, here's the deal, and this is that's a tough way to open, but the Timberwolves have already played a game, of course. They played on opening night on Tuesday. They got beat by the Lakers 110-103 down at Crypto.com Arena. If you're going to get a team 3 times in the first 19 games, this Minnesota team is a good one to get that many times. Because I have so many questions about how Julius Randle is going to fit with that team long term.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe he doesn't. He has 1 year left on his contract. Maybe this year doesn't work out and he leaves. But I think that even the version of the Timberwolves that we're going to see in March, I'm not totally sure that that's going to be like a team that was as good as Minnesota was last year. And they're still trying to integrate Julius Randle. You saw it against the Lakers. I don't think they've figured it out since Wednesday. And so you're going to get Minnesota 3 times here where they're trying to integrate this massive offensive piece into an offense that now has Karl Anthony Towns out. So you lose that spacing. You add a new creator, trying to figure that out with Anthony Edwards, and what is Mike Conley doing and what is Dante DiVincenzo doing? Like, they got a lot of questions to answer, and you're going to get them 3 times before November ends.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think the Sacramento Kings also have their own questions that have to be answered. You know, again, how do you integrate DeMar DeRozan, getting 2 players back in Trey Lyles and Kevin Huerter right at the end of training camp, or whatever you want to call it, after the preseason's over and everything else. But at least you had a good amount of time. Again, the Kings acquired DeMar DeRozan in July. It's not like Minnesota went out and traded for Julius Randle like right at the beginning of training camp.
Just insane.
It's absolutely wild to trade away like your franchise player, whether he's a quote unquote franchise player or not. Karl Anthony Towns, for the last like almost decade, was their franchise player, and to trade him away right at the last second and then try to integrate this in like very quickly, where guys still like moving to Minnesota, is still like taking his physical as training camp is opening and all that stuff, just absolutely bizarre. So I think they'll be a much better team later in the season than they are early on. But then again, you know, I always go back to the 22-23 Kings where, yeah, they started 0-4, but after that 0-4 start, this was a team that was all new. Like, you know, they had traded for Sabonis at the end of the season, but then Fox got hurt and hadn't really played with him. The only players that were really held over from the previous year, Davion Mitchell, Harrison Barnes, and De'Aaron Fox. You add Sabonis and Lyles at the deadline late in the season. Then during the offseason, you go out and you get Malik Monk, you get Kevin Huerter, and you draft Keegan Murray. You put all these guys together, and then somehow they figure out how to be the number 1 rated offense in the history of the game. That doesn't usually happen, and that's why we keep talking about like the slow start that Minnesota could have, the slow start Sacramento could have, because it's a reality of the sport. You need continuity. It's a 5-man game, but those pieces have to move as one.
But it's also with Julius Randle, specifically with Minnesota. I get that maybe I'm talking out of both sides of my mouth here, because DeMar DeRozan is a high usage player that's getting into an offense that has Domantas Sabonis, that has De'Aaron Fox, that has Keegan Murray. Like, they've got to figure out how that's going to work. Like, no doubt. But there's a level of continuity there and a way to make that fit that I see the vision. Like, I see how this works. With Julius Randle, I don't understand quite how a team that last year when you watched them losing in the Western Conference Finals, you went, man, they need another shot creator for sure, but they could use some shooting.
Yeah.
And so they remove Karl Anthony Towns and add Julius Randle, who's a downgrade defensively. He's a downgrade from a spacing standpoint,
rebounding standpoint.
Right. Now you're trying to, and Julius Randle, again, not a bad player, but it's just the fit.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's going to take them a while to figure that out if they ever do. Well, I'm just not high on this version of the Timberwolves. I don't know that the pieces all connect.
I totally agree with you. I would also point out Julius Randle missed like the last 40 plus games of the season and the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
Like he hasn't played basketball in a long time.
Yeah.
And so integrating him back into your system is different. I think the fit with Rudy Gobert at the center position is very odd.
Really odd.
And I don't know how that's going to work long term. But I don't know that they're looking at him long term. I think everybody around the league knows this was a cost-cutting measure to get below the second apron.
Insane.
And so basically you broke up a team that last year, won 56 games?
Yes.
And I mean,
finished a game out of first place, went to the Western Conference Finals. You finally figured out how to play a big next to Rudy Gobert. You have Anthony Edwards, who loves Karl Anthony Towns. They have great chemistry, and you blow it up. Just bonkers, dude.
Yeah, very, very wild. Wild to watch a team really play for the salary cap, not play for wins and losses.
Yes.
So
if they were not a team that could potentially contend for a title, I would understand. Like, bro, what are you?
They finally got there.
We talk about the vibes being bad with the Kings because they went 0-5 in the preseason. It's like, oh, what's that do to the vibes? Oh, it's such a radio talking point.
Yeah,
the vibes are actually bad in Minnesota.
Yeah,
like, that was a bad team chemistry move. We'll see. Now that we've done all this, Timberwolves are going to go win by 30 tonight.
Yeah, that happens, right?
Every time. Every single time. I'm very confident that a team's not going to be very good. They come in and play a great game. No, Kings-Timberwolves tonight. Starters for the Kings. We know Kevin Huerter starting at the 2-guard spot, so it's going to be De'Aaron Fox, Kevin Huerter, DeMar DeRozan, Keegan Murray, Domantas Sabonis going up against Mike Conley, Anthony Edwards, Jaden McDaniels, Julius Randle, and Rudy Gobert. That's a big front court, man.
It is a big front court.
But functionally, how?
Well,
that's what.
Yeah,
size matters more defensively.
Okay, so this is one of those things, right, where one of the teams that the Kings specifically were worried about when they were going through this offseason is the Timberwolves, because the Timberwolves, their length and athleticism does give the Kings fits. Now, again, they changed their roster completely. There is no more 7-foot tall Karl Anthony Towns roaming the perimeter and shooting threes, right?
Right.
So that really does change everything. Now, Randall brings his own set of problems for the Kings, just like his size and the way that he bullies to the rim. That's a problem. But I think one of the things that the Kings tried to address during the offseason was getting another scorer, another guy that draws attention. So then that way you kind of split who has to defend De'Aaron Fox. And so the last couple of years, Jaden McDaniels has defended Fox. That's not going to be the case in this game. At least I don't think.
Yeah.
I think he's going to have to spend at least some of his time defending DeMar DeRozan. And if he doesn't, Fox is going to get loose. Mike Conley cannot stay in front of De'Aaron Fox.
No.
Not
and
anymore.
Even on the bench, Nickeil Alexander-Walker is fine. Dante DiVincenzo tries hard, but he's not a lockdown defender. He's a good defender, but not somebody that he matches up on De'Aaron Fox. It's I don't know what Fox is going to do tonight.
Yeah.
Jaden McDaniels has that kind of ability. He is a top flight all NBA type of defender.
No, totally.
And Dante is not that. Is Jaden McDaniels v De'Aaron Fox your matchup of the game?
Yeah, I think so. What do I got? I don't. My matchup of the game is Keegan Murray versus Anthony Edwards. And that's because I know, from my conversations around the team, that's how the Kings are going to start. They're going to go out there. Yeah, they're going to give Keegan the first shot to slow down Anthony Edwards. Edwards he put up numbers, but 10 of 25 from the field in the opening game. And that's a bit of a problem. If he's going to be a bulk shooter like that, if he's just going to hoist and hoist and hoist. That's fine as long as he's ineffective or inefficient. And I think Keegan Murray, length, athleticism, but also strength. The strength that he's added, you're going to need him to go down and guard Julius Randle for stretches. But if you can get away with him for a few minutes there, with Keon Ellis defending, with De'Aaron Fox jumping over and defending Anthony Edwards for stretches, and take away him as much as possible, then who's going to beat you on that team? And I think that's how the Kings should be looking at this. Like, how do we limit Ant-Man? How do we make it so somebody else on that team has to beat us? And I think you match up pretty well everywhere else.
I'm hoping we get a De'Aaron Fox, Anthony Edwards, like couple minute stretch where they basically go one-on-one.
That'd be fun.
That's what I'm hoping for tonight. I also think something the Kings can do defensively before we get out of here is I think they can afford to throw like DeMar DeRozan on Rudy Gobert.
Okay.
If the Timberwolves want to run their offense to Rudy Gobert, go for it. Like, yeah, let Rudy Gobert post up DeMar DeRozan. Go ahead. Like, have fun with that.
Yeah.
I would. That's the way I would kind of handle that. And then you got Domas with Julius Randle, and then you can go Keegan on Anthony Edwards and feel good about it.
Yeah, I think so. I would do it. And you're going to have to ask, hey, Kevin Huerter, I know you haven't played in a long time. I'm going to need you to be good defensively. I need you to figure it out.
Can you just hang out in front of Jaden McDaniels? Can you keep him in front of you?
Yeah, can you make sure that you don't leave him in the corner and let him shoot a bunch of threes?
Yeah, sure.
And hey, if you don't want to do that, we're going to stick you on Julius Randle. You'll get beat up for the next 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Good luck with your ribs.
Yeah, enjoy that. Injury report real quick. Kevin Huerter and Trey Lyles, they are going to play. Kevin Huerter looks like he's going to start. Orlando Robinson, Devin Carter, not active for the Kings. On the other side, nothing. Timberwolves fully healthy going into tonight. We got to step aside very quickly. More Kings basketball coming up. That's James Ham, Kyle Madsen. We're sponsored by Jiffy Lube here on ESPN 1320 and Sacramento Sports Leader. We did it.
We did it. We have people outside.
Oh yeah, it's just I've been starring people's predictions. We'll get to those later. Appreciate y'all for dropping those in. James, I need a minute here.
Sweet. So talk to the good people.
Yeah, I need a minute to do my editing stuff here.
Yeah. Russ Dog, I think Trey Lyles will get a shot at Randall. And I actually think that's a pretty solid matchup. I mean, I don't think Trey's going to stop Randall, especially if Randall gets cooking. But Randall hasn't played hardly at all. I mean, that's, you got to remember, he missed so much time last year, and he's still kind of working himself back in. I don't know. Chatty House after party. You don't want my autograph. Like, what are you talking about? I think chances are we will all meet up in the front, like the lobby to Golden One Center, at halftime. I think that's what we typically do, because all four of us will be there tonight. Me, Kyle, D'Lo, Kenny.
It's a rarity.
Yeah, it is a rarity. Steven, nice.
You gonna hang out with us?
Good morning, my loved ones. No, I'm gonna let you do your show. I'm gonna go.
Oh.
Well, I mean,
I tried really hard today too. No, you come in and drop that on me.
No, ouch.
I did intend to get here in time to just hang out with you guys at like 9:30, but I'm a worthless piece of shit and didn't make it. So I love you both.
There it is.
Figuring that out.
Thank you.
What a guy. Damian Barling, everyone.
Yes, we are going to form Voltron tonight.
Oh, dang. No. Because I don't hang out. James sticks around for all the post-game stuff. Depending on timing, I usually stick around for the press conferences.
Yeah.
So Mike Brown and a couple of players, but then I bounce. I'll be home before midnight.
Yeah, because that's around 10. That finishes up around 10.
Yeah.
Like,
and
we've had
from the arena, I'm like an hour 10 home.
Okay.
So, and by the time we get out of there, traffic's not bad. Yeah.
My biggest issue is getting out of the parking garage. Like, if I try to leave too early, I get stuck and takes like 25 minutes to get out of the parking garage. But my drive home is way easier than my drive in, because when I get to Auburn, after like 10 o'clock, all the lights are timed. So I can get from Like if people know Auburn, where In-N-Out Burger is, all the way up to Bell Road in like 3.5 minutes without speeding. And normally during the day, that takes about 12 or 15 minutes. In the morning, it took me forever to get through this morning. I was keeping an eye. You can't hate Kyle's hat. He's promoting Socktober.
Exactly. Thank you, James. Manny hates the unhoused. That's wild.
Oh, he's just a bad person.
Come on, man. Yeah, no, I'll stay the whole game for sure. I needed to wear a black and white hat today, and my only other like true black and white hats are both. One of them is like the Oakland oak tree logo, and the other one says the town, and they're technically Warriors hats.
Yeah,
so I don't want to wear those.
Be a tough look.
Yeah, so it's more supporting the city of Oakland, but they were derived from Warriors things. So I try not to.
Yeah, see, this is totally true, John Bull. D'Lo, that'll be leaving early. He has Murder, She Wrote to watch in bed. Yep.
Okay, here we go. Oh, no, here we go. Wait. All right, here we go.
Now, back to the Insiders with James Ham and Kyle Madsen, brought to you by Jiffy Lube on ESPN 1320.
He's James. I'm Kyle. Talking a lot of Sacramento Kings basketball. The Kings back in action tonight against the Minnesota Timberwolves. The NBA was in full swing last night, though. We had opening night Tuesday with 2 games. Last night we had the full slate.
Yep.
It was great. Having League Pass back, where I, not to brag, but I exercise, and you can't tell, but I do. And jumping on the elliptical and being able to fire up League Pass and just finding out which game is close and watching it. And then when that game goes to commercial, going to a different game and just bouncing around the league. Oh, I miss it. I miss it so much.
I need to get better at that, at bouncing around League Pass. I tend to like watch a game. Just like...
So when it gets later in the year, that's what happens to me. When it gets, oh man, this is a matchup I'm really looking forward to, I end up just locking into one.
Yeah, I tend to do that way too often, where I'm just like singularly focused, and I don't do that on Sunday. I have the main game on, and then I have Red Zone with the Red Zone turned up, so it's firing like what's happening at all times.
Yeah.
But with the main game, I tend to like focus more on like what's happening. So whatever that might be.
No, totally. I get it. I need a Red Zone for the NBA.
Do they not have it on League Pass? Because I wasn't
so.
digging deep last night into League Pass.
I don't think they have a Red Zone.
Okay.
It'd be really cool if they did.
No, I think you're right. I mean, it's almost impossible, but they should have like 4 screens,
like
right?
A quad box.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know because the NBA, the speed of the game, and because the frenetic pace, it doesn't stop. That would be pretty crazy.
I need to derail the show very briefly. Matt Kim in the chatty house, salute to Matt, said looking forward to some ramen at Kodaiko tonight. Can anyone else co-sign that?
Oh,
I need a good ramen spot. I love ramen.
I think there's one right outside
it might be that one.
Like on the next block up.
It might be that one.
Okay.
If anyone can co-sign this ramen spot, please do, or don't, or let me know your favorite ramen spot. I'm down to try all of them. I can't tell you how much I love a good ramen, and we're at the time of year where your boy's going to start crushing some ramen again. Okay. I've got a lot of cosigns. Okay, a lot of cosigns. Very good. Oh, best ramen in town, says John Poles. And Omi Okay.
I think my son and his friends go there when they come down for games.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure.
Okay. I need him to, if I get the cosign from Little Ham, then, or no, I guess it's Medium Ham.
Yeah.
Because Little Ham is the youngest one.
Little Ham is the youngest one.
So Medium Ham.
Yeah.
Then great. Anyways. Sorry, I get you start talking ramen. I'm sidetracked.
It happens.
Kevin from the Wake Up Call just went to Japan and ate a bunch of ramen while he was there.
Of
and
course.
every photo of it that he posted was like, "Mm."
As one does
Looked
when they go to
amazing.
Japan.
We
They
had
get
this
ramen.
little hole in the wall spot in San Francisco that we go to, my wife and I, when we'd go out to the city for museums or shows or whatever. And it was this little like hole in the wall spot, had like 6 tables, just bomb. Fantastic.
Wow.
It closed.
Oh,
Yeah.
sad.
Kodaiko. All right, very good. I'm gonna go check it out. Oh, we got another okay, I'm gonna write all these down. Very good. All right. That's James. I'm Kyle. We're the Insider, sponsored by Jiffy Lube. And we're gonna talk about the Kings. You wrote down a ton of big questions facing the Kings this season.
I did.
And these are things that are not going to be answered tonight. These are things we're going to have to answer kind of throughout the season. But number one, this is the single biggest question of the year. There are more things, or there are team sport. There are so many things that are going to factor into the team's success. But the number one thing, if they're going to take that leap to 50 plus wins, playoff team, leaving no doubt, it's DeMar DeRozan and how he fits in.
Oh,
And that's
yeah.
going to be that is going to be a months long process, probably trying to figure, not months, a weeks long process trying to figure out exactly what that looks like.
Yeah, I think it's interesting. And early on, one of the problems that they're kind of having a little bit behind the scenes is that DeMar is trying to be too unselfish, and they're pushing him like, "Hey, man, we brought you here for a very specific reason. Like, you might not get 17 shots per game, but we want you more around the 14, 15 shots per game." That's what I'm hearing from like sort of the inside. That not only that, but his ability to get to the free throw line to slow down the game, his ability to go for 40 on any given night, and his ability to cook late in games. It has the ability to change everything. What you don't want to see is him try to fit in too much. Just go be yourself, and it'll all work out in the end.
We've seen him do this before. The 2020-2021 season in San Antonio took 15 shots a game and shot 49.5% from the field. And he averaged 6.9 assists. Like there's a sweet spot there.
Yeah.
He's not gonna have the ball in his hands that much to shoot it 15 times and dish out 7 assists. That was a not great Spurs team, and it was a lot of DeMar DeRozan. But he can do both. But to your point, my thought was it was preseason and he was trying to get a feel for what the offense looked like.
Yeah.
And when the games count, he's going to go be DeMar DeRozan and kind of take over games when needed.
That's kind of the same way I feel about De'Aaron Fox.
Yeah.
It was just
100%.
like, hey, it's preseason. We're trying to work out some of the kinks.
Yeah.
But there will be a point, and maybe you can see it tonight, where DeRozan has a wide open 17-foot jump shot, and he can either rise up and take that shot, or if he takes one step in, the defense shifts out, and that's where he's looking to pass, right? You need to see less of those and more of him just like, go ahead and hit that 17-foot jump shot. You got really, really strong rebounders all over the place. If you miss, nobody's going to care. You're one of the great jump shooters in the history of the game. Go ahead and
he's
fire
not going to
away.
miss a lot of those anyways.
No, he's not. No.
It'll be interesting to see though, because experienced player, super high IQ player, if that changes throughout the course of a game. Early on, maybe he does take that step in and kick it out to get Keegan Murray involved. Maybe he does step in to kick it out to get Kevin Huerter involved. But then late in the game, it's tied with a minute and a half left. DeMar DeRozan is not passing up an open jumper. You know?
No, I don't think so. I don't think. And the other thing is like, look, if the Kings are going to be like maximized Kings offense, you need a guy like Jaden McDaniels to go defend DeMar DeRozan for stretches and let De'Aaron Fox cook. And that means that DeRozan is cooked to the point where they have to make an adjustment and pull their best defender off of one guy and put him on another. Right. And so that's what you're hoping, because there's no one else on that team outside of Jaden McDaniels that can slow down. I don't think that can slow down DeMar DeRozan. Maybe Anthony Edwards if he's really locked in defensively. But you're not going to want to do that because DeMar DeRozan's ability to get to the free throw line is like unmatched, right? He's one of the great free throw grifters that there is in the league. And what you don't want to do if you're Minnesota is shift Anthony Edwards over there and have him pick up 3 quick fouls because, he had to go defend somebody.
Well, and you don't want him exerting that much energy defensively because he's going to have to do everything offensively.
Yeah, totally. And I think that's what's interesting too about the Kevin Huerter thing, because I think in most of these situations, like if Anthony Edwards has got to go defend Kevin Huerter, that means he's got to chase Kevin Huerter all over the place. And it's just so much running that Kevin does. And so you're hoping that that's another way in which you sort of tire out a player.
Yeah.
And maybe it works, maybe it doesn't. But I definitely feel like the Kings having, a guy like Keegan Murray who's just going to defend, hyper focused on defending Anthony Edwards, just like Jaden McDaniels will be on, the other end. But Keegan Murray is a much better offensive player too.
Speaking of Keegan Murray, that brings us to question number 2.
Yeah.
Hang on. There we go. Question number 2. And you asked, can Keegan Murray take another leap? And this is both like a this year question and a long-term question.
Yeah.
Because how Keegan winds up developing here is going to change a lot about how Sacramento approaches the next 3, 4, 5 years. I kind of wonder if we're going to see a better version of Keegan Murray, even if the numbers aren't. I don't think we're going to see a statistical explosion where it's like, oh man, he's averaging 21 a night.
Mm-hmm.
But do we see a more efficient offensive version where he's maybe a little bit more aggressive while continuing to be a very, very good defender on that end of the floor? That's what, because it's just like that leap to me, the leap I've been waiting to see Keegan Murray make is reliable, like go-to scoring threat.
Mm-hmm.
We need a bucket, get it in Keegan's hands. He's going to put the ball on the floor and he's going to get to his spots and he's going to score. With De'Aaron Fox and Malik Monk and DeMar DeRozan, I don't think there's going to be a ton of opportunities to do that. There'll be some.
Yeah.
Because that's just kind of how the course of a basketball game goes. But they're not going to rely on him to do that. So can he, in lieu of that, can he perfect that kind of 3-and-D role that he's going to take on? I know that sounds so limited, but ostensibly the 3-and-D role that he's going to take on, where, okay, yeah, he's shooting 40% from 3 and he's guarding the other team's best perimeter player effectively night in and night out. That to me is the leap for Keegan. Give me 8 threes a game, shoot it at 40+%, and be an awesome defender.
Yeah, and like I don't want to make this like this comparison completely, but I'm going to point out, okay, so the player I'm talking about averaged 7.9 points per game as a rookie.
Mm-hmm.
In his second year, 11.9. In his third year, 12.8. In his fourth year, 16.5. Right? And in year 5, jumps to 21, jumps to 25. And the player I'm talking about is Kawhi Leonard.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that there's a possibility that the offensive trajectory of Keegan Murray looks a lot like Kawhi's offensive trajectory, where early in his career, he's just a crazy lockdown defender. And as he gets more and more integrated into a system, he becomes a much more reliable offensive player. I think that what the Kings have done here with DeMar DeRozan is they bought Keegan Murray another year, maybe even at 2 years, where he can grow at a natural pace and get to be the player that you want him to be without it being forced. I do expect Keegan Murray to average closer to 18 points per game this year.
Sure.
I expect him to shoot closer to 40% from 3. But what I need him to do is settle into a position, settle into a role where he is expecting to get X amount of 3-point shots, where he's expecting these, to be part of what's happening. In the preseason, I saw multiple games where I felt like when he got the ball, he felt the pressure to be aggressive too much.
Mm-hmm.
Like being aggressive is something that he needs to do within the flow of the offense. And so I'm hoping that the way that this offense is, free-flowing offense, that he finds the ball in his hands, that the Kings find him more often.
Mm-hmm.
And that way he'll grow like organically as being like having to force him into being a 20-point per game guy.
Sure.
I think the Kings, the distance the Kings can go in the playoffs probably still depends on Keegan Murray's development. And it's going to be because of his defensive prowess, because he is such an elite 3-point shooter. If he really settles in and becomes, like a Chris Middleton type player right now, man, the Kings are going to be tough.
Okay, let me ask you this then. We get to the end of the year. We get to April, middle of April.
Mhm.
We say, man, Keegan really took a leap this year. What does it look like?
Close to all NBA type defender, 6 to 7 rebounds per game, and 18 points with between like 38 and 41% 3-point shooting.
Yeah.
Like, I think he'll get to the free throw line more. I think he'll probably get to the line 3 times a game this season, as opposed to like the 1 time per game that he has throughout his like through his first 2 seasons. He's being pushed by DeMar DeRozan to be that guy.
Yeah.
Go get to the basket. Go like figure out a way to use your body to get a foul call.
Mm-hmm.
And and that's where they want him to be aggressive. And I think if he can do the little things, he shoots 1 more 3, 2 more threes per game, and he gets to the free throw line 3 times per game.
Mm-hmm.
He's averaging between 18 and 20 points a game.
Yeah.
It's like that easy for him.
Yeah. Yeah. My greatest concern with Keegan as a player is that he views this as a backseat, where now he's not doing all the things you just said. And instead he's like, I'm going to stand in the corner and I'm not going to do anything except shoot the ball if it comes to me.
Yeah.
And that would worry me a little bit, at least long term. Like there needs to be a little bit more than that. Or if it comes to him and God forbid he doesn't shoot it.
Yeah. There has to be a healthy balance.
That's not a prediction. That's just kind of, that would be my concern here.
Mm-hmm.
Is there's all this upside to DeMar DeRozan being here, and you hope for that, but there's a part of me that worries that he's going to see that as okay, I've now been knocked down a peg among scoring options, so that super aggressive Keegan Murray we saw in the play-in game against the Warriors just never shows up.
Mm-hmm.
And we're sitting here all year going, how does Keegan take 5 shots in a game? I can't have that. The other thing that for me, how many times did we see Keegan last year start a game 3 of 4 from 3 in the first quarter and then finish with 9 shots, or takes 8 shots in the first quarter and finishes with 12? Like, dog.
No, it's tough, but
you gotta.
I know you do, but the problem is that when you've got, like 4 guys on this team that will go for close to 20 every single night, and you might not be one of those guys. Like, you got to figure out that De'Aaron Fox is going for 25 every night.
Yes.
DeMar DeRozan is going for 20, 21. Domantas Sabonis 20, 19, 20. But Malik Monk 15, 18. But he's pushing for 20. He's going to have a lot more 20s and 10s than, so he's going to have a fluctuating thing. But that means that there's so many scoring options here, and he needs to be part of all of that. And he needs to sort of like plant his flag and say, like, this is, I'm here too. But
I hope so.
Yeah. But at the same time, you can understand that there will be games where he doesn't take a bunch of shots, just like Sabonis. There will be games where Sabonis doesn't take a bunch of shots. And if you're losing those games, then we have to have those conversations. If they're winning, then it's going to be a part of, the reality of the situation that there are a lot of good scorers on this team.
Speaking of De'Aaron Fox and Domantas Sabonis, you mentioned Fox going to be a 25-point a night guy. Domantas Sabonis going to be between 19 and 20. Do you foresee? And I'm gonna tie in. I'm gonna use this as an example here. We saw the when Steph Curry made his leap from, oh, he's just a guy, to like, oh man, he's really good, to MVP. You kind of you saw these steps, and then in 16 or 15, 16, there was just that meteoric rise where he was unanimous MVP, right? Do you see one of those leaps with Fox and Sabonis, where they've both all NBA caliber players? But is there a leap here where maybe Fox is 30 a night, maybe Sabonis is 22, 12, and 10?
I think that both of them have the capabilities to do it. In all honesty, I think if Sabonis jumped to 21, 22 points per game, the Kings are a much better team.
Yeah.
If Fox jumps to 30, I'm not sure that you're a better team.
Oh, interesting. Why?
And it's just tough because as a perimeter player, it's tough to be it's tough to be that impactful taking a leap unless you're able to take that leap and still be extremely efficient. And so, De'Aaron Fox shot it wasn't his career high, but it was close to his career high in 3-point shooting last year. I think if he can stay at that clip, that's great. If he can increase his free throw percentage, he's leaving a point per game just in free throw percentage.
Man.
I mean, straight up.
Yes.
And not only that, but I think he'll get to the line more times this year than he has in previous years. I think there's easily a way where Fox can average 28 to 30 points per game this season, and he's going to be motivated to do so.
Yeah.
You have to remember that
he's got money on the line, man.
He's got a lot of money on the line. So if he gets up to an All-NBA status again, he jumps to making 35% of the salary cap. And that's a gigantic pay raise. And so I'm intrigued, but what I don't want to see is Fox go for 30, Sabonis go for 22, but the team isn't very good because you're not balancing out everything.
Yeah.
And so I think Fox does score naturally in the flow of the offense. I think there is some forced shots, especially off the dribble threes and stuff, that really has to be cleaned up. But it really does depend on how the offense flows. If it starts flowing where it looks like they're, again, moving as one, then I think both of those guys can take tremendous leaps, especially if Sabonis stops hesitating and just goes.
Yeah, man. Yeah. That's you talk about the preseason. That's the thing I would love most to see carry over from the preseason.
Oh yeah.
That offensive aggressiveness was oh my God, yes, light bulb.
I asked him about it.
I'm hoping that wasn't just a matter of DeRozan being a little bit more passive than he might be in the regular season and De'Aaron Fox taking a back seat, so Domas is taking it on himself. I'm really hoping that that's what we see throughout the season, because you just said it, man. If you have 2 All-NBA caliber players, you should be in the playoffs, no doubt.
Yeah.
And to me, if that's the and it's leap is a hard word, right? Because you can't define it. But if that's going to be the last step, because to me, that's the last step Domas has as a player. It's that's what he is this close to being maximized, and it's going and get it when it's there. Again, he's not going to change who he is and start averaging 3 assists a game and 20 field goal attempts a game. That's not what we're talking about.
No,
but a couple more 3-point attempts. When he gets the ball rolling down the lane, just going up strong with it instead of immediately looking to get rid of it. That's where you start going, all right, hey, this guy's averaging 22, 15, and 9 for a 3 seed in the West. That's where you start talking MVP. Yeah. That's where that kind of stuff comes in. And I think it's there. And it's not that far. It's not an unachievable thing. 30 points a night for De'Aaron, you're right. Maybe that is unachievable in the Kings offense. In the flow of their offense as it's presently constructed.
Oh, I think it's achievable, but I'm not sure that you're winning in that in that way.
Right. For Domas, it's dude, it's right there. You don't have to do that much different.
Yeah.
And that is the biggest, to your point about De'Aaron and 30 a night. I think I initially disagreed, but the more we've talked about it, I think I agree with you now that if Domas becomes a 22 plus point per night guy, now that's impacting wins on a greater level.
Yeah, there's a big difference between a guy who shoots 62, 63% from the field, scoring more, going in and getting more buckets, than a guy who's shooting at, sort of at his peak, 48, 50%. And it's just the efficiency of it. And so look, I did ask Sabonis about this during one of our media sessions during the preseason about sort of his thought process moving quicker. And he's like, well, yeah, I work on everything every summer. But what I took away from the good thing I took away was he doesn't realize that he's doing something different. He's just doing it. And so it might be something that's new and ingrained in him, that quicker thought process where it's oh no, I got to go. No. There's no hesitation. I need to go. And that's tireless work that he's put in with guys like Doug, with guys like Leandro Barbosa during the offseason, where they're working on all of these things. But I think the best coaching that you can get is when somebody helps you fix a problem that you didn't know you had.
Sure.
And they do it without telling you about what your problem is and trying to work through it. They just fix the problem without you really understanding that there was an issue. And that's really high level coaching, and it's really high level thinking for Sabonis as well.
I just received a phone call. Sorry, I just got distracted because it was from my area code, and it just said healthcare above the phone number.
Well, that's not great.
That's terrifying.
Do you need to go take a phone call?
No, I don't. That's just that makes me very nervous. I don't like that.
Yeah.
I'm hoping they don't call back.
Okay.
That's when the anxiety really sets in.
Yeah, when they call twice within like 2 minutes.
It's my most millennial trait is that when I get a phone call, I immediately panic. Like immediate anxiety. Like, what happened?
That's funny.
It's like mom calling. I'm like, oh my God, hello? She's like, hey, just wanted to say hi.
Just hi.
Like, text me.
That's funny.
Yeah, so hopefully I'm gonna go check that voicemail that they just left at the break, and hopefully
You're still sitting here
right.
afterwards. Yeah.
Oh man. Kings-Timberwolves tonight. We'll continue diving into this. Got a bunch more big questions ahead. We've got to look at that. We had a bunch of NBA games last night. We've got some notes and news from those games, and we're gonna be doing predictions. I've got a bunch of predictions saved in the chatty house right now. If you would like to call in with your prediction for the Kings season, you can predict record, you can predict finish in the West, you can predict an award, a statistical line, whatever you want to do at 916-909-1320. That's 916-909-1320. That's the Elk Grove Kia talk line. We do not have a call screener, so it's just going to ring for a while.
There it is.
So hang out, chat with us. We're the Insiders. He's James. I'm Kyle. We are sponsored by Jiffy Lube. More Kings, more NBA. Kings basketball back tonight, baby. Right here on ESPN 1320 at Sacramento Sports Center. We're clear.
Nothing. Good over there, Kyle.
Yeah.
How long is a break? Can I run it? My wallet. I have my wallet.
Hang on, y'all. Turns out it was just my dentist. We've never been more back. What's up, y'all? Yeah, Kyron's the big winner. Yeah, they just I'm having a procedure done, and initially I was gonna get everything done all at once because they have something to do on each side, and they called to tell me that it needs to be done separately, and that's not a thing I want to do. I don't care to do that at all. So I'm going to raise some hell about that.
Uh-oh.
What's up, Jay?
Hello, everyone.
No, absolutely not.
Ooh.
What? No, it's not. No, it's not. No, it's not that crazy. Surprise teams through one game. Looking around last night. Charlotte. I was surprised at Charlotte.
Yeah.
Wait, what? Same on Charlotte or same that you have to get a dental work done? Yeah, tough. It's not going to miss a show.
I was surprised that Cleveland crushed Toronto.
Facts.
I mean, I think Cleveland's a much better team.
Also, looking at the players Toronto rolled out is not a huge surprise. I will be dialed into the World Series for sure. Yeah, dude, I got my wisdom teeth out in 2006, October of 2006. I'll never forget it because I had to watch the A's get absolutely pummeled by the Detroit Tigers in the ALCS while recovering from my wisdom teeth being pulled out. Yep, this is what's happening.
Kyle's getting a grill.
Rob the jewelry store, tell him make me a grill. Boom, bing, boom, bing.
Chris, yeah, we're not that far away from there. 107. I think I'm in 104.
Yeah, find where the media is and stand back there.
Yeah,
we'll pop out eventually.
Yeah.
End of a quarter. Every time, dog. Every single goddamn time. All right, here we go. Hour number 2, that's James Ham. I'm Kyle Madsen. We are sponsored by Jiffy Lube, and we're hanging out until noon. Then we'll hand it off to D-Lo and KC. No better place to get ready for the Sacramento Kings season opener tonight against the Minnesota Timberwolves, and right here on ESPN 1320. James and I have got you for the next hour. D-Lo and KC got you for the next 4. And then, if you're looking to do something to kill some time before the game, we've got Thursday Night Football tonight. Vikings at Rams right here on ESPN 1320.
Ooh.
Yeah, man.
All right.
Vikings at Rams. Let's see.
Can the Vikings bounce back?
Any revenge games? I was trying to think of a. I think Kevin O'Connell's a Sean McVay guy.
Oh,
maybe. I don't know. I don't know. I don't care enough to look it up. That game's happening tonight, though. It is very secondary to what's happening at Golden One Center, though, and that's what we're talking about today. Answering some of the biggest questions facing the Kings. One of the questions for me is Kevin Huerter is the starting 2 guard. Is that just the case all year? Or is this going to be a evolving thing where Huerter's going to get 10 games and we'll see how it goes, and then Keon gets plugged in and we'll see how that goes? We talked yesterday, maybe at some point they tried DeMar at the 2 and maybe Trey Lyles starts, depending on how their rotations and matchups are shaking out. I'm fascinated by how Mike Brown handles the shooting guard position.
I am too. And one of the reasons why I'm fascinated is because we went into this season thinking that there's a good chance that Keon Ellis was going to start at the 2.
Mm-hmm.
And then Malik Monk would be the backup.
Right.
Now, Malik Monk is still the backup.
Yeah.
But he might be the backup 1 and the backup 2. I don't know. Like, I don't want to put a label on what exactly Malik Monk is. And that Kevin Huerter would play the 3. Remember, we had the whole, medical update where he was listed as Kings forward, Kevin Huerter, right?
You caught that quick.
Yeah. So, again, I think it is what it is. Like, maybe someone just made a mistake when they're writing things out. But I think it now, like, it creates this weird little bubble here where we have no idea exactly how it's all going to play out. Like, Kevin Huerter could come out and be Kevin Huerter from 2 years ago.
Yeah, in which case it's a non-conversation.
Then he's going to start 82 games if he's healthy.
Yep.
And there's also a possibility that he comes out a little bit slow, but the offense still works.
Mm-hmm.
And he's not hitting his shots, but you're winning games, and you're still going to let it ride because you want to see if you can get him back to that player. There's also a possibility that their defense is so incredibly horrible coming out of the chute that they have to make a move, that they have no choice but to insert Keon Ellis into the starting lineup. There's also a possibility that they just keep getting beat up by teams in the post because they don't have enough size. So it's possible that we could see Trey Lyles go into the starting lineup, Keegan Murray move over to the 3, and DeMar DeRozan move to the 2.
Yeah.
So I think the one thing that I've learned very clearly from Mike Brown over the last couple of weeks and conversations that I've had around this team as well is that there are 4 guys that are starting the entire season if they're healthy. It's De'Aaron Fox, it's Keegan Murray, it's Domantas Sabonis, and it's DeMar DeRozan.
Yep.
That 5th spot can fluctuate all season long. It can also, it doesn't have to fluctuate. It just really does depend on how players are performing, how the team is performing. If they get in a rut here to start the season, changes could come. If they don't, or if they're winning and a player is still trying to build up to speed, that's okay as long as they're winning.
My hope is that this is a good problem for the Kings.
Yeah.
And not a problem where they're cycling through these options because they're just searching for answers.
Yeah, that would be a bad thing.
Yeah, and I think there's a chance that this could be an advantage, right? Like having too many good players is a good thing. But if it's Keon starting some games and Herter starting some games, they're throwing Trey Lyles in there because they just can't seem to figure out the who the 5th starter should be if nobody's just taking that spot.
Yeah.
Now it's a problem. But right now I think it's a good problem to have.
Well,
you have options.
Even opening night, I mean, I could very well see, I don't know how much this would happen because Trey hasn't been there at all, but I could see a situation where Keegan Murray is doing a great job on Anthony Edwards, and so you need to leave him there.
Sure.
But Julius Randle's busting you up, playing power forward. And so you bring Trey Lyles in, and at that situation, I don't know who goes to the bench, but in that situation, you could see where somebody's going to lose minutes. And it's also why I don't know how much Jordan McLaughlin will play this season. I don't know how much Alex Len will play this season. There will be certain nights where both of them play a bunch. And then there'll also be a week where one of them doesn't play or both of them don't play. And that's just the nature of the beast. It's the nature of how this team is designed right now.
It's one of the things that I think Mike Brown is really good at is messing with rotations. And he knows that you have 82 games. You have to win enough games to go to the playoffs, but your 82 games are about figuring out, hey, when this rotation in the playoffs goes down to 7-8 players, who are the best 7 or 8 players, by April, can you have no doubt that it's these 8 guys? And that's going to be to me of we're talking big questions. That's the number one question for the Kings and every team.
Yeah.
Right. What is it? Who are your best 8 guys by April?
Yeah, exactly. And we don't even know, how does Doug McDermott fit into this whole thing? We don't. If you need instant offense, sure. Or how an Isaac Jones fits into this situation. He's a player that you might need this year that might be able to play alongside Domantas Sabonis, that might be able to hit the corner 3 and play really good defense and hit the crash zone, and he might be effective.
Love the crash zone.
Yeah. Well, you're going to see a lot of it.
Can't wait.
Everybody watch Crash Zone.
I need a t-shirt in the Kings font that just says Crash Zone. I'd wear that so fast.
Jim, get on that.
Hey, Jim, where are we at? Crash Zone t-shirts. 916-909-1320. 916-909-1320 is the phone number. Mitch in New Jersey. Your Kings are back, baby.
What's happening, guys?
What's going on, Mitch?
Yeah. Team's a little small, but I don't mind seeing Herdy's at 6'7". You got enough scorers. We have undersized center who can score, though. I just worry about size, and we did trade Jalen McDaniels. I don't know why. I thought that was a decent trade.
He's not very good.
Some size. He was not very good, huh?
Yeah.
That's always the case. But the Western Conference is looking so good. With the Eastern, I think it's just Knicks and Boston, I think.
Yeah, I think I'm with you there.
I agree.
You weren't impressed by Orlando last night, Mitch?
I don't have See, I just get the New York and Philadelphia
Nah, it's all good.
station. So, but what I wanted to say though, right now Sam Darnold's having a better year than Purdy. What's up with that, Kyle?
Yeah, he sure is. Kevin O'Connell's heck of a coach. Thanks so much, Mitch. Appreciate you.
Take care.
Yeah. Sam Darnold, heck of a season. Sam Darnold playing football on this very radio station tonight, 4:30 p.m. Thursday Night Football. Sam Darnold and the Vikings taking on Matthew Stafford and the Rams.
He threw some shade
Can't wait.
there, right at the end, just like shade.
Yeah, he's right, dude.
Good for you.
Sam Darnold's been awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can I keep it a stack on Doug McDermott just real quick because his name came up in the chatty house and then you brought him up.
Yeah.
In an ideal world, you don't need Doug McDermott to solve problems. He's a nice piece to have, but it's not. If it's some point in the season, it's like, we need Doug. You got a problem.
I think the good
McDermott,
thing,
not Christie. We love Doug Christie.
yeah, I think the deal with McDermott is if you need Doug McDermott because you have injury problems, he's a nice luxury to have. If you need him because your team just isn't successful and you need something different, like look at Doug McDermott as what the Kings hoped Sasha Vezenkov would have been last year.
Yeah.
And just a better version, like a more seasoned, faster,
To
more
me,
experienced version.
To me, the best version of the Kings involves Doug McDermott on a night where, hey, you know what? A little bit of foul trouble. I need Doug McDermott for 8 minutes. Man, can't hit. We're 3 for 19 from 3. Doug, can you go get us a shot?
Yeah.
That's where I don't think it's a regular rotation spot. I don't think it's a, oh, hey, in case the Kevin Huerter thing isn't working out, we've got Doug. I just don't. My expectation for the Kings is really high.
Mhm.
And while Doug McDermott is a bucket, I don't think that he's a rotation player on a 50+ win team.
No, he's a break in case of emergency player.
Yes. Okay, that's a perfect way to put it.
For this team.
Yeah.
And if you have to go there, like if he plays a couple of minutes a night early in the season, that's fine. But realistically, if he's a main rotation player, that probably means something went wrong, or it means that you don't have faith in a guy like Keon Ellis as much as fans might have faith, or
Sure.
people on the outside talking about Keon Ellis might have faith.
Yeah, I'm really. That's it. The Keon thing's kind of weird to me. Again, like you said, maybe we were just all off, and me in particular. I've been a big Keon Ellis guy, and maybe I've just been wrong. Maybe he's just a kind of back end rotation dude.
I don't feel that way with him. I feel like we also have to keep in mind that as a rookie undrafted two-way player, he played 16 games and he averaged 4.4 minutes per game. So what did he play? 60 minutes the entire season. So he played 71 minutes the entire season, his rookie season. So anyway, I think when we're looking at like Keon in year 2, he played 21 games last season. And if you look at his 17.2 minutes per game, he played in 57, but he started 21. That's what I meant to say. But the 21 games that he started is where the bulk of his minutes came.
Yeah.
Like there's just not a lot of experience there. And you finished the season and you were okay to finish the season. I was wrong. They didn't finish like 4-7. They finished like 5-6 or something to finish the season. But like you don't know what you have still 100%. And if you're a team that has 50+ win, like dreams,
Aspirations.
yeah, then you don't know if he's going to fit or not. And like, I still think he should be in the rotation.
That's wild to me.
Yeah.
I get,
Yeah.
Guess I was just wrong. Oh, Sass in the chatty house said, mark my words, Doug will be better than James Ham's favorite player, Chris Duarte. I'll fall on that one. I was a big Chris Duarte guy.
Well, I mean,
that's on me.
Chris Duarte,
I thought it was going to work out. It did not.
Yeah. No, that didn't work out at all.
I saw the vision.
Yeah.
I anchored to my pre-draft take on the player.
He was really good his rookie season.
Yeah, and he had a nice career at Oregon. Looked like a really quick translate 3-and-D player, and just nope, didn't pan out.
Yeah,
swing and a miss. Not all the takes are going to be good ones. Anyways, I I wanted to put a bow on the 2-guard thing.
Yeah.
I think Kevin Huerter's going to start all the games. Every game he's healthy.
Yeah.
The fact that they're immediately injecting him back into the starting lineup like this lets me think that Keon is not ideally for them part of the picture. As a starter, I mean.
I don't know if that's 100% the case. I just think that they're, for today, they have this idea that you don't lose your starting job because you got injured. And they also understand how good the team was 2 years ago with him as a major piece to that. And they know the gravitational pull that he brings to the floor. We'll have to wait and see how. It's not going to be easy because there are going to be nights like going into tonight's game. I want Keon Ellis on Anthony Edwards for at least like 18 minutes of the game.
Sure. No doubt. All right. He's James Ham. I'm Kyle Madsen. We're sponsored by Jiffy Lube. Kings-Timberwolves tonight. Timberwolves come in with an 0-1 record. The Kings haven't played yet. Stinks for the Timberwolves that they had to open with 2 games on the road.
Yeah, really bizarre.
Really
for a team
awesome
that
year. And just, hey, we're going to get rid of Karl Anthony Towns. Here's Julius Randle, and then also go on the road. Goodbye.
Yeah, you guys were so much fun last year. We're super excited to hand your team over to some penny pinching guys that includes A-Rod. And we're going to send you on the road, and your franchise player is now a Knick.
All right. Sure,
all right. Good luck with that.
So this is a game where I think the Kings can I don't want to say easily. This is a winnable game for the Kings. This is not this insurmountable juggernaut in Minnesota that is going to come in here and show that they are a contender in the West and the Kings are not. I don't foresee that. Specifically because we talked about this a little bit earlier. I don't love the Julius Randle fit, and I think it's going to take them a while to figure that out. But this is also a Minnesota team coming off a loss on the road, maybe a little bit angry. So let's get into our keys to victory. James, we'll do 3 keys each. Key number 1 to a Sacramento Kings victory for you, James Ham of the Kings Beat. And of the Insiders.
Let it flow. And what I mean by that is, like, I want to see the offensive flow. You know, they have their flow set, but I want to see this thing actually look like a functioning offensive team. And the defense stuff will take care of itself. They will get better defensively throughout the year. But the way that this team is going to win games early in the season, in my opinion, is by the ball hopping, 30 assists per night, not a lot of turnovers, a lot of wide open looks for players, just everyone eats, everyone's having a good time, score 120 a night, maybe more. And that's how I think that this season will take off from the beginning.
Yeah, man. And playing with that pace too. I think that's going to be, there were so many times it felt offensively like they were laboring a little bit last year. Like they were trying really hard to do the exact right thing. And I know they added all sorts of counters to what they were doing. And I don't know that it ever took off. And eventually you're going to have to do that. You're going to have to run things in the half court, and you're going to have to be able to execute, X, Y, and Z plays and all that. But I'm with you, man. And for the first few games, while you're especially getting DeMar DeRozan fully integrated and stuff, getting Kevin Huerter integrated back in, getting Trey Lyles integrated back in, just go hoop and let the ball move.
Yeah,
I love that. Key number 1 for me: play like it counts. This game matters now.
It does.
You're 0-0. The preseason obviously no longer matters. I don't want to. If there's no reason that they should come out flat or have a general malaise at any point tonight, I need 48 minutes. That crowd's going to be nuts. This game counts. It's a game against a Western Conference contender. This is a team that was in the Western Conference Finals last year. The star power is there. It's Anthony Edwards. Julius Randle, I think, has a little bit of star power. It's a defensive player of the year in Rudy Gobert. There's a lot of heat on this game, and I would like to see the Kings treated as such.
Yeah, I mean, like,
it's your freaking home opener.
It's silly, but 82-0 is on the table, right?
Sure.
And I know but like, hope springs eternal for every team.
Yeah.
And if you walk into this game and you don't take it serious and you don't look like you have a lot of pop, I think that this thing can get ugly. And I don't want to see that. Like last season, there was ugly moments in that season. And again, you have reasons why you could get off to a slow start. But at the end of the day, you also have so much talent on this team. This is the most talented team this franchise has had since the early 2000s.
Yeah, no
without
doubt.
any question, the most talented team they've had. So go out there and let your talent shine through.
Yeah, you have to. You have to come out fast. Number 2.
Domas Dominus. Domantas Sabonis has always done a really good job against Rudy Gobert. Like, they have a really good battle. And Gobert usually puts up big numbers too. Like, this, it's just kind of the way it's been. Like, it's not, there are players that Sabonis just crushes and they do nothing and he does a whole bunch. And that happens probably 60 nights a year, right? But Gobert is a player that holds his own against Sabonis, that, usually has a double-double against Sabonis. So I would like to see him drag Gobert away from the basket, show off the mid-range, shoot a couple of threes, get the offense flowing, force Gobert to the bench, realistically. Force him to the bench, because I think that's the player that Sabonis is, that he's good enough that Gobert should not, despite the Defensive Player of the Year honors, should not be a major impediment for him to have a great night.
Yeah, man. Being a threat in the mid-range opens up so much for Domas. And against Rudy Gobert specifically, it opens up a lot for their offense in general. I'm right there with you. That's going to be something all year. That's a key to the season for me. I need not only, like, Domas is going to go dominate from a 19 and 14 and 8 standpoint. I put that in pen, right?
Yep.
But can you evolve as an offensive player, specifically as a scorer, to just alter the way defenses are defending you a little bit? And I think that starts tonight against the reigning defensive player of the year, 4-time defensive player of the year, Rudy Gobert.
Is it 4-time?
3-time? 4-time? It's a lot. Good defender, good player, Rudy Gobert. Number 2 for me, you need anyone but Anthony Edwards to beat you. Anthony Edwards is going to take 25 plus shots. He's going to go and try and get his. If Anthony Edwards is scoring 40 plus, you're in a bad spot. If you're holding Anthony Edwards to an inefficient 25 shots and he's going, he scored 25, but he needed 25 to get him. I think you're in much, much better shape, because then you're getting guys like Jalen McDaniels just standing around, and you're getting guys like Nickeil Alexander-Walker, Dante DiVincenzo just kind of standing around. So I would like to see them make anyone but Anthony Edwards beat you, to the point that I suggested is start DeMar DeRozan on Rudy Gobert offensively. Let the Timberwolves funnel their offense through Rudy. Go for it. As long as it's not Ant.
Yeah, I'm with you. Anthony Edwards is one of the most gifted one-on-one scorers in the league.
Yep.
And he's a force, and he's busted up the Kings quite a few times. He's not easy to defend. And again, if the Kings start the game with Keegan Murray on him and Keegan Murray picks up a quick 2 or 3 fouls, it's going to get ugly. This thing can get out of control. But I have faith that they have a game plan for him, especially Keon Ellis, De'Aaron Fox.
Yeah.
You're going to be able to throw different looks at him this year.
Yeah. Don't need to stop him. Just make him inefficient. Make someone else beat you.
Yes.
Number 3 for you.
Number 3 for me is don't leave their shooters.
Well,
yeah, it's a problem that the Kings have had. During the preseason, they left wide open shooters the whole time. They've got a new new defensive principles that they're working with a little bit, with Luke Laux taking over as a defensive, coordinator on this team. The rotations need to be better than what they were during the preseason. But again, this is Minnesota shot 38.7% from 3 last year. They were 3rd in the league in 3-point percentage. And then they went out and added Dante DiVincenzo, who does not care at all and will launch and would love nothing more than to light up the Sacramento Kings after what happened with him as a free agent here in Sacramento.
Yeah. And Dante's been a good shooter the last 2 years. I think 38% is last year in Golden State and 40% last year with the Knicks.
On a huge amount of
volume.
attempts.
Yeah. Man. I know I said that anyone but Ant's got to beat you, but at the same time,
don't let them.
You can't let them make 25 threes.
No,
man, tough. The NBA is hard, guys. Number 3 for me, win the bench minutes. And you got a chance to win the bench minutes a lot of nights, especially if you're going to have Trey Lyles and you're going to have Keon Ellis coming off the bench, Malik Monk obviously coming off the bench. You got to go win those minutes. I don't know that I fully trust what Minnesota's got going on with Dante DiVincenzo, and like got Joe Ingles playing a few minutes and Nikhil Alexander-Walker and Naz Reid, 6th man of the year, obviously. Go show that Malik Monk is a 6th man of the year.
No, I'm with you 100%. And he should be extra motivated because Naz Reid is there.
Yeah.
The Timberwolves have a very, very good bench. I mean, they can put up numbers big time. And I think one of the things that we're missing here is that, yeah, the Kings were missing 2 rotational pieces the whole time. And now Kevin Huerter's moving into the starting lineup. Like, look, Malik Monk has not been able to play with any of the bench players that he will play with up until this point. Like, Keon Ellis was a starter until like 2 days ago.
Yeah.
And Alex, yeah, he's played with Alex Len, but Trey Lyles has been out the whole time. So how does he figure out how to move these pieces around and integrating himself in with whoever's left of the starting group that's there? I think that will be the easy part because he's played with, whether it's Domas or De'Aaron or Keegan. He's played with those guys a ton, but it's still going to be a little bit of a work in progress getting that second unit because they have not been together at all during the preseason.
Yeah. Who's your player of the game prediction?
I think I'm going to go De'Aaron Fox.
Yeah, that's fair.
I think he's going to be extra motivated this entire season.
I'm going DeMar DeRozan. Call him DeStar DeRozan.
Oh, DeStar.
We saw the way he came out in the preseason opener. I think that's what we're going to see tonight. This is a player who has been in big spots. He understands the moment, and I think he's going to rise to the occasion. I think we're going to get a huge DeMar DeRozan game tonight, and I think we're going to get a Kings victory. Give me 117-113. Kings win.
Okay.
You heard it here first. I recommend they play the game just in case.
122-112 Kings.
Wow. A little blowout action.
Oh, 10 points, I don't think is a blowout in today's NBA, but
cannot wait for Kings basketball tonight. We'll also have Thursday night football coming up. Should be a fun one. Vikings at Rams right here on ESPN 1320, Sacramento Sports Leader. Can you entertain the people while I edit?
I don't Kieran Bagley. I was surprised that Rob Dillingham did not play in the opener. But again, Nikhil Alexander-Walker, right? Or is it Walker Alexander? He's good. He's a big time 3-point shooter, and Dante DiVincenzo is going to be he's going to be a problem. I do like Dante as a fit piece on that team. Again, I think their bench is way ahead of the Kings bench at this point, just because they've all been together like during the preseason. But I think with Rob Dillingham, they have their replacement for Mike Conley when he gets to the point that he can't keep playing, which isn't that far away. Let's see. Where is Minnesota? How old is Mike Conley? Alexander Walker. Yeah. I really like him as a player, and I love Naz Reid. Like, Naz Reid is the dude that the Kings I wish they could have gone out and got. Oh man, Mike Conley's 37.
Mike Conley's old as heck.
37. Wow. How much? We don't do pocket watch on here. That's D'Lo and Casey's thing. I'm gonna guess that Mike Conley has made $290 million, or he will by the time it's all done. Oh, look at that! What? To date, he's made $277 million. He'll make $10 million this year, so $287 million, and 10 the year after, so $297 million. Not bad. Sweet. Yeah, he's made a lot of money. And yes, he did play with Greg Oden at the Ohio State University. Yeah, Mike Conley's made a lot of money. That's crazy. I can't believe he's under contract this year and next too. So he'll be under contract. He'll enter next season as a 38-year-old. I looked it up. Connolly's made after his contract ends next season, $297 million.
Golly.
Yeah.
I knew it was a lot. I'd have way undershot that.
Yeah. I guess 290. I was off by a little bit. Yeah, I like Mike Connolly. He's kind of like who everyone compared De'Aaron Fox to coming out of college. Lefty, super fast, and Fox has blown away that projection. Like Connolly's been a solid pro, but Fox has been an all-star. Oh, Leonard King, you're predicting a big blowout, 122-95. Johnny G, I've been trying to lay off the cookies. Sometimes by the time we get to halftime, there aren't any chocolate chip cookies
See,
left.
they've been doing this thing where they put out more chalk chips at half, though.
Yeah,
That's smart.
they are, and we get halftime hot dogs, which is never a good idea.
I tried chopping it up with the food guy the other day or last season.
Yeah,
The guy that brings the food and
the
does
tall,
whole
skinny
thing.
guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Didn't want to chat.
He's my guy.
Not mine apparently.
He will chat, but he doesn't chat very often to anybody. He is a world traveler. Like I think last year he was gone for 2 weeks with like Egypt.
Love that for him. Hell yeah.
Now, back to the Insiders with James Ham and Kyle Madsen, brought to you by Jiffy Lube on ESPN 1320.
I can't wait to get to the arena. I'm so excited.
I love opening night.
I've been trying to plan out my day. I have some writing to do. I have post-show stuff to do here, but I'll be done with that by like 2. That's too early to go down there. Did I just go downtown and hang out? I had to pick up my credential.
That's why I told you I'm going home. I'm trying something new to start this season. Yeah, I am. I'm gonna go home for a little while and take a nap and rest up and get ready so I'm fresh for tomorrow.
We just got time to kill.
Yeah, I mean the problem I have
Maybe
on
I'll go get ramen.
There you go. I think the problem that I have on these days is that we do the show and then if I don't go home, I'm here until like 3:00, 3:30, and then I drive down to the arena.
Mhm.
And next thing you know, I've worked a 16-hour day and I'm shot. So
Yeah.
I need to not do that.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I can't go home. So I had time to
Come
kill.
hang out with
I
me.
spend a lot of time. No, I don't want to go that far. I don't want to go further away from the arena. No, I just I don't know if I'm allowed. Shout out to Sauced. I spend a lot of time at Sauced pre-games.
I've done that too. Yeah.
Yeah, man. Go get a little salad, a little cornbread, hang out.
Oh, I
It's
like
great.
that. I like the salad.
It's a good time. If Sauced wants to sponsor the program,
There we
let
go.
us know.
We'll be there having hippie chick salads
Yeah,
every single
dude,
day.
I'm in there.
Yeah.
We had a ton of NBA action last night. We're just gonna roll through some of these games with some of our takeaways. Just full disclosure, don't have takeaways on all of the games because did not get eyeballs on all of the games. The Warriors beat Portland 139-104. I thought it was a really nice performance for Golden State. My bigger takeaway was, they played 12 dudes, 15 plus minutes, and Steve Kerr basically said that's his solution to their current problem of not knowing who to play. So
Yeah,
they're
that's
just going to play
wild.
everybody. I don't know. I don't think that'll be the case throughout the year. My bigger takeaway from last night, though, because you got Steph Curry almost had a triple double in 24 minutes. Buddy Hield hit a bunch of shots. Portland stinks.
They are bad.
They are wretched. You know how usually in a blowout, it's a 28-point game, I think, to start the fourth quarter.
Mhm.
Warrior starters didn't play the fourth quarter. You know how usually when the bench is empty, the losing bench sometimes goes on a little bit of a run, and the 28-point lead, the game ends it was a 20-point lead.
Oh.
They cut into it a little bit.
Yeah. They at least make it interesting.
Not the case here.
Oh no.
It was 139-104 the final.
Mm.
And it just got worse as the game went on. I have deep concerns about Portland this year. Portland is team number 1 on Cooper Flag watch.
I agree 100%. Their entire design here is odd. The fact that they don't really know what to do with Tamani Kamara, who was their best player through preseason. And so their answer is to not start Scoot Henderson, who is your top, 3 pick last year?
Isn't he number 2?
Number 2, yeah. Number 2, number 3. Yeah, like, so to bring him off the bench, and like, shout out to Scoot, who played, well, he scored 22 points. He did not hit a 3-point shot, which is going to continue to plague him throughout his career. But I just thought it was a very strange, like, they're confused with who they're going to be and who they should be.
Mhm.
And, you go out there and you use a top pick on Donovan Clingham again. And, he's backing up DeAndre Ayton, and like,
it's just a collection of guys.
odd collection of players.
And some of them, like Anthony Simons, nice little player.
Yeah.
Shaden Sharp, maybe a nice player someday.
Yeah.
But everyone else,
I know, and they've got 3 guys on their bench that are injured. So Sharp, Matisse Thybulle is injured, and Robert Williams they're all injured. And you're looking at this team like, hey, I wouldn't mind going and trading with them and plucking a couple of players that they have, but their design is weird.
Yeah,
like, where are they going?
Not an effective team.
Yeah.
The Indiana Pacers beat my Detroit Pistons 115-109. Here's the deal. Again, I didn't say I thought Detroit was going to be good. I thought they'd clear their 26.5 over-under.
Yeah.
They looked, I feel justified in that take after watching them. They're not going to be good, but last year watching the Pistons was like, get this off my television. This is so awful.
Oh.
But they at least have adults now.
Mm-hmm.
They had Tim Hardaway Jr. out there. They got Tobias Harris out there. It's Jaden Ivey. Cade Cunningham is a very, very good player.
Jalen Duren. I really like Jalen Duren.
Beef Stew. Isaiah Stewart's out there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I feel fully justified with my Detroit take, even though they did smoke a lead against Indiana and lost 115-109.
Yeah, but still, I think that the design, like, they're at least, they have a path where I feel like the last, couple of years, it's just like, hey, let's get as many young players as possible. And that's impossible.
Yeah.
Like, I've watched the Kings try to do that in the past, and it's just so hard to try to string together a whole bunch of draft picks and hope that they work out, because you don't have enough time to develop each one of them. And because one guy is falling behind in development, but he still has to play alongside someone else, it hurts the development of other players when you have too many young players. And so getting some adults in the room is a good idea.
Brooklyn, Atlanta beats Brooklyn 120-116. This was a game I had no interest in, and I ended up getting dialed into because of a Cam Thomas prize picks. No, but one of the first thing that happened when I turned the game on is Nick Claxton winding up and catching a flagrant 2 for whacking Dyson Daniels in the face as he's going up for a layup, knocks him out of the air. Full-blown wind-up, not a basketball play. Easy flagrant 2 ejection. So it was like, oh, man, it's getting a little chippy. Then it got a little chippy a little while later, and then I was sweating the Cam Thomas more than 27.5 points and assists. Salute to Cam Thomas, who took 27 shots. My man is a black hole on offense.
Oh, yeah.
It is outrageous.
Oh, no, he does not see anything but the rim. He does not care at all.
I think he finished with 3 assists last night. I couldn't tell you a single one of them. I don't remember him giving up the rock at all. Also, Ben Simmons, not good.
Oh,
Ben Simmons did not finish the game.
Oh.
Didn't close the game.
They started Dorian Finney-Smith at center?
The Kings should trade for Dorian Finney-Smith.
You think so?
Yes.
Okay.
That's a good player. I'm in on Dorian Finney-Smith.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that he's starting at center and Nick Claxton, maybe that's why Nick Claxton went out there and got tossed.
It's also why Onyeka Okongwu looked like an all-NBA center last night.
Oh, yeah.
He was dominant. But I like the Hawks collection of players. Jalen Johnson, good player. Dyson Daniels, nice player. I think he had 5 steals last night. Onyeka Okongwu was awesome under the basket. Trae Young, obviously, running the show.
28 and 8 for Okongwu.
Yeah.
You're like, whoa.
He was awesome.
Yeah.
On what, 10 of 11?
11 of 12.
11 of 12.
And
but again, this is where grain of salt.
91.7% from the field.
Nick Claxton was Brooklyn's only center, and he got ejected. So we'll wait and see on the Hawks. I like some of their players.
He didn't start though. Claxton came off the bench.
Yeah, but then he was ejected. They didn't have him at all.
Yeah, it's wild.
Really tough. Tough for our guy, Jordy Fernandez. Milwaukee, Philly. I watched 0 seconds of this game. 124-109 the final.
No.
I'm not interested in Philly until Embiid and Paul George are playing. One or the other. Or
Yeah.
both.
Or the NBA gets done with their investigation. That's when I'm ready.
It's so funny that they're investigating if Joel Embiid is hurt. Like, yeah, hey, he is. I promise.
Like, we're going to force you to play him 65 games and then watch him disintegrate in the playoffs again.
Dude, that's it. After watching Joel Embiid drag his ass up and down the court in the playoffs against the Knicks last year, if he's not on the floor, I promise he can't play. Like, Joel Embiid was a gangster in the playoffs.
Oh, yeah, he was a
last year.
warrior going out there.
Incredible.
Yeah, I totally agree.
It
Was hard to watch. I did not want to watch any more of it.
Yeah.
It's like watching Tua play quarterback. You're like, oh no, like what are
Sure.
we doing here?
Yeah.
But at the same time, like I understand why they're not playing him in game 1 of an 82-game season.
Yeah. Cleveland beat the heck out of Toronto. I did not watch any of this game, but the Raptors firmly on flag watch. Also, the Nets also on Cooper flag watch.
Yes. Oh yeah.
Big time.
Yeah, they're the president of the Cooper Flag Watch Party
Yeah,
fan
man.
club.
Yeah, Toronto just not great.
Nope.
Garrett Temple played.
My guy G Temp. I don't even know how old Garrett Temple is at this point.
37.
I'm gonna look it up because
Mike
he fought his way.
age?
He's been in the league 15 years,
Mhm.
and he had to fight his way into the league. He's
Right.
38 years old. Good job
for him,
Garrett
though.
Temple.
Collect those checks, baby.
One of my favorite dudes.
Really fun game in Houston. Charlotte beat the Rockets 110-105. This is a classic. This is a classic call me at Christmas game. I don't know if this means Charlotte is way better than I thought they're going to be or Houston's worse than I thought they were going to be.
Well,
But either way, I was surprised Charlotte went in and won that game.
I think everyone's on LaMelo watch. Like everyone's like, oh, we forgot he's really good.
Yeah, he's so freaking good.
But wait for like 18 games and then he won't play again, and you'll
what
be
I was
frustrated.
I was talking about this with Kenny last night a little bit. I got a text back from Kenny, not to brag. And we were talking about LaMelo. It's like, dude, his feel and IQ, he makes everything look so effortless on an NBA court, which not that many guys do. And the guys that do are like the elite of the elite, right? But is he ever going to be able to harness his skill set to be that elite guy?
Yeah, can he
And
be a
that's
winner? That's the
Yeah,
question.
I don't.
Uh,
I have no idea.
yeah, it's very bizarre.
There's
Like,
a chance that LaMelo is one of the like 8 best guys in the league at some point.
maybe.
But
yeah, I have a tough
if he
time
hits his
believing he'll
ceiling,
get
if he hits his ceiling,
Yeah.
then that's what that is to me what his ceiling is. But like, dude, is he ever going to reach out? I wouldn't bet on it.
No.
Like based on what we've seen injury wise, based on what we've seen with some of the off the court stuff, I just don't know if he wants to be that dude.
Yeah, I also just the way that he got to the league, the way that he ended up playing in Poland or
No, it's Australia.
No, before that.
Oh, he started,
or
yeah,
Lithuania or
some
or the Ukraine
other country.
Yeah, well, I mean, his dad just like I hate the whole situation there. But the fact is, man, he played 22 games last year. He played 36 a year before that. Yeah. Like the fact that he can't stay healthy at all is a major problem. He's exciting to watch, but he's got to play.
Excellent player though.
Yeah.
I think we saw it last night. I'm trying to find where he went and played in 2018. That was in Lithuania.
Okay.
Yeah. Good knowledge by you.
Absolutely bizarre.
Chicago, I'm sorry, Orlando, Miami is our next game up. Orlando 116, Miami 97. Paolo Banchero, baby. The MVP campaign is underway.
I just are the Heat bad?
That's what I tried to say yesterday.
You did try to say that yesterday, but like
they're just not aesthetically pleasing to watch. I don't think they're very good at basketball.
It's a weird, again, talk about a collection, and that's usually how Eric Spoelstra rolls, but that's a weird collection of players.
If they can get you into a rock fight, you're going to have a hard time beating Miami.
Yeah.
But if you can keep the game from becoming a rock fight, I don't think they have any answers. Who scares you on Miami?
No one.
Bam Adebayo, really fine player.
Yep.
Love Bam. But it's like Tyler Hero? No?
I mean, I really like Jaime Jaquez.
Jaime Jaquez, fine.
But they have a whole bunch of
What is it like?
those
Okay,
dudes.
on the Kings, De'Aaron Fox scares you.
Yes.
De'Aaron Fox is like, hey, what are we doing to stop that guy?
I mean, I think Jimmy Butler scared people for a long time, but does he
Terry
still?
Rozier?
No.
Jimmy Butler's 1 of 8 last night.
Yeah. Him and Bam, but neither one were very good.
Yeah, Jimmy Butler's an awesome player. He's going to go down. He's going to be a Hall of Famer, all-time playoff guy. But on a night-in, night-out basis, Jimmy Butler offensively doesn't scare me that much.
Mm-mm.
Anyways, Paolo Banchero was awesome.
That's going to be a good team.
Yeah, man. 33, 11, and 3 with a steal and a block. Paolo last night, 12 of 24 from the field, 4 of 8 from 3.
And they did that with Kentavious Caldwell-Pope going for a goose egg, 0 of 5 from 3, 0 of 5 overall, 3 points in his Magic debut.
Yeah. But Franz Wagner, too, 10 of 16 from the field, 3 of 6 from beyond the arc. Yeah, Orlando might be really, really good. Other games last night, New Orleans beat Chicago in a game that I forgot happened. DeJounte Murray fractured his hand, though.
Yeah, it's not great.
Man,
Look
New
at that
Orleans in a
injury
bad
report.
way. Zion didn't play. DeJounte Murray already hurt. I had 33, though.
They won.
Yeah, they won. They beat a bad Bulls team. The
Yep.
Bulls on flag watch, by the way.
Yeah, they're
Fully on flag watch. Yeah, we talked about this yesterday. I had New Orleans falling out of the playoff picture, and yesterday didn't do anything to dispel me of that.
Yeah, probably not. DeJounte Murray is probably, 6 to 8 weeks?
I have no idea.
We don't have a date yet, but
No.
broken hand, they said he's going to be out long term.
Memphis beat Utah 126-104, and then Phoenix and the Clippers 116-103, an OT finish. James Harden vintage 29, 8, and 12 for James Harden.
Zach Edey fouled out in 15 minutes of play.
Vintage my ass. Tell the whole story.
Yeah, 29, 8, and 12, and then fumbled away the last possession.
Yeah, 29 points on 28 shots.
Oh, my God.
Yikes.
Yeah, if that's the Clippers' future, the Clippers are in trouble.
They are.
29 points on 28 shots. That ain't it.
Yeah, that's why we had the Clippers out of there, man. They're not like James Harden's got to be that dude. No.
Yeah,
No.
that ain't it.
Not in 2020.
That ain't it.
Alas, we wanted to roll through the NBA games last night, but the more important thing for us today.
We can keep rolling through them. Let's go.
No, we were done.
I think we were done.
You have any Nets Hawks thoughts?
No, that's not one I paid attention to.
I had a prize picks on Cam Thomas, so I was dialed.
Prize picks.
Hey, if you want
my ass,
if you want, I need Harrison Barnes to have less than 2.5 rebounds tonight.
Bro, I keep seeing that there, and I'm like, I'm not touching this. I'm not pausing.
Less
I'm not
than?
doing anything with it. That's his number.
Less than 2.5 rebounds.
More or less than 2.5 rebounds, and I refuse
went
to
less.
play it. I
went less.
refuse to freaking
I get a
play
4.
it.
I get a 4 out of 5. I always do a flex play. I get a 4 out of 5 if Harrison Barnes does less than 2.5 rebounds.
Did you remember that Harrison Barnes likes to make an impact early in a season?
Might be
That's a
in the
good point.
point category
Yeah.
rather than the rebound category.
Is Wemby's going
Because
to
I
be
think
taking all
Wemby
those
was
boards.
more or less 11.
Oh.
I think that was his number. It's
Yeah.
like, all right,
Yeah.
I'm staying away from him.
Harrison Barnes opening night last year, 33 points, 4 rebounds for the Sacramento
Wow.
Kings. 11 of 16 from the field, 5 of 7 from 3.
All right.
Wow.
Let's get to the more important game this evening. Kings,
Yeah.
Timberwolves, Golden One Center. What is the biggest question you're looking for the Kings to answer this season? Like, what's the biggest question that their playoff hopes hinge on?
The tonight or the entire season?
The entire season.
Whether their offense can return to the standard it was the year before.
Yeah.
We could talk about the defense last year and all of that different stuff. The reason that they finished 2 games worse was because of the offense. There are a few exceptions to that. James is always very good at pointing to the Charlottes and the Washingtons and all of those games that the Kings kind of blew where they were lackadaisical or just got their ass kicked by a team that came out to play better than they did that day. But they also have I think I always forget the number. I think it was 143-142 loss to the Bucks.
Yeah.
In Milwaukee, where if you just hit a couple of free throws in the fourth quarter, if you make it 145, you won that game, and Dame Lillard gets a chance at the buzzer to lose by 1. Like that shot winds up meaning nothing. And so like there are moments last year where their offense was really good and they still lost games. But overall, their offense was clunky. And that's where I always push back on the Malik Monk thing at the end of the season. No doubt Malik Monk's loss was extremely impactful, but this whole idea of, if Malik had just been there, like, Malik was there. Kevin was there. Like, guys were there, and their season was just so they never found their footing. And I think a lot of that was because of what was happening on the offensive end. Can their offense return to what it was back in the first year of the Beam team when the playoff drought was broken and they solidified that playoff spot? Because if they do, I think that team is absolutely 100% a playoff team and potentially a top 4 team again.
Yeah.
And the 50 wins that people are talking about.
51 for me.
There you go.
I think maybe the most important thing is that I want to see them find an identity, and it's probably on the offensive end. But whatever it's going to be, I felt like last season we waited and waited and waited. Like, who are you?
Mm-hmm.
And the year before, it was a great offensive team, but it was also this resilient team that never lost 3 games in a row.
Mm-hmm.
We just kept waiting for who are you, this identity moment. And I would love for that identity moment to happen early. And then you're like, oh, so this is who you are, and everyone's got to beat you this way.
Mm-hmm.
So you're really good at this. They've got to figure out a way to beat you doing that. And if they can't find that, I feel like it can be a very similar season to last year.
Yeah, I'm right there.
And,
I need him
and
to
that's the number
start
one
fast,
thing.
dude.
They can't be lost.
That's it.
Yeah, they can't be lost.
That's it. That's what, like, all the preseason stuff, like, obviously it doesn't matter now, right? There's not going to be a single person in the building tonight that's like, oh, I don't know, they were 0-5 in the preseason, right? Like, that all doesn't matter. But if you come out and start slow tonight,
it's
like,
so what that
hell?
more than what that 0-5 created, like, uncertainty.
Yeah,
like if you were like a little anxious, coming into the season, with the addition of DeMar, you were really wondering, like, what exactly is this team going to be? The preseason didn't help.
No.
And you really have to remind yourself, Trey Lyles is an important component to what the Sacramento Kings are doing. He was not there. Whether you like him or not, Kevin Huerter is an important component to what the Sacramento Kings do. He was not there. So, there's a lot of things that went into that preseason, and we could discuss what type of plays they were running, whether they were running, and we could discuss all of that stuff to death. But in the end, all it did was create a little bit of anxiety that was probably already there. It just raised it a little bit. And a slow start or a bad start or a bad game tonight, Kings fans will absolutely feel a little off about it.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, it wouldn't shock me if it was a little bit slow to start. Like, they're still trying to, because there's just a lot of, like, I mean, like, to start tonight.
Yeah, the only reason also they started out great against the Golden State. You do that. You already did it.
Right.
Do it again. Like you already did
much
that.
Better defensive
this
team,
is a very, very different matchup. It's a very, very different matchup. But it's not like you've never played Julius Randle before. You've played Julius Randle somewhere else. Julius Randle's beat your ass before. It's not like, oh, we got to figure this guy out. No, we know he kicks our ass. Let's make sure we're defending this properly. You know what Ant-Man can do? They're coming in with a little bit of extra motivation because they're a team that people are super high on, and they lost their first game. They don't want to start the season 0-2. But the fact is, they're on the road tonight. You're Sacramento. You're the team at home. Take advantage of that.
Yeah, I kind of feel like, did Julius Randle drop like 45 on the Kings? Did he drop 50 on the Kings? He dropped a huge number on the Kings.
Well, I remember he was kicking their ass, and then I think he got thrown out. I don't remember if that game was 2 years ago. I think it was the one maybe at the Garden. But I think he was killing the Kings, and then he just got tossed. It was like, screw it. I'm out.
I'm out.
Oh.
He scored 46 in a... Yeah, he scored.
What year was that?
It was March 7, 2022 for the Knicks, 131-115 over the Kings. He scored
in New York?
I don't think so.
Oh, geez.
No, it was in Sacramento.
Yikes.
I don't remember that.
46, he 8 of 16 from 3.
Wow. I don't think he's probably going to do that tonight.
I don't think so.
You guys going to talk some Kings today on D'Lo and KC?
No, it wasn't the plan.
A lot of Bulls.
Yeah, a lot of Bulls talk. Probably some LaMelo talk. He had a nice little run yesterday.
Yeah, he did.
Couple of there was actually obviously a ton of Kings talk. There
Brandon Pajemski a plus 34 without scoring a point.
Is that for real?
That's a thing
wow.
that happened.
He who I liked yesterday because I asked some questions about him was Cade Cunningham. I thought Cade Cunningham had a great game yesterday.
Our Pistons?
Our Pistons.
Come on.
Our Pistons.
Yes!
I was a little uncertain about him, so I'm excited to watch him. I wanted to watch the Pistons last year, and I said yesterday I got bored 7 minutes in. I was like, I can't do this.
They
But
looked
yeah,
more like an adult team yesterday. It was
They
great.
did.
Yeah.
No, they did. That's a shoot. They actually did.
Yeah. All right. D'Lo and Casey coming up next. That's James Ham. I'm Kyle Madsen. Enjoy the game tonight. We'll be back tomorrow to break it all down at 10 a.m. on The Insider, sponsored by Jiffy Lube. Until then, drink water, be nice, people. Bye.